Hey everybody, it's Suzanne O'Brien, and welcome to this edition of Doula Tips Tuesday. Today we are going to answer the question of how can death be my greatest teacher about life? Now, I often will say this. I often will say death can teach us everything about how to live if we would just listen. So may I share with you the reasons why? Not always intuitive or thinking that that makes sense that somebody would say death is your greatest teacher about life. How? Let me explain. It teaches us about presence. It teaches us about being fully present with somebody at the end of life when time is limited and there's not a lot of stuff going on. There's not a lot of planning and movement and doing this and doing that. Humans doing rather than humans being. We get really present, and hopefully we open up that heart so wide just to be in this space with this other human being, whether it's a family member, a friend, or if you are being a doula. So it teaches you about the power of presence, and I will often say that the power of our presence is the best medicine we have to give to one another at the end of life, and really always. So end of life, death teaches us about the power of the presence when we are living in a world that is almost being run anything but present. We're thinking of the future and we're thinking of the past, and we're humans doing, not humans being. So it teaches us presence. The second thing it teaches us is gratitude. And one of the things that I will often share with my students and people in talks is that when I started working for hospice as a hospice nurse, I started to live the fullest that I've ever lived in my life. Why? Because my whole perception of life every single day took on a new meaning. The fact that I was able to go for a walk after I finished work on a beautiful day, that I had that ability when you're taking care of people who don't have those options anymore. So the gratitude of each and every day, the little beautiful moments of the day, not sweating the small stuff, it's like living your life with a different perspective and lens. And it's one of the greatest gifts, because if you can live your life every single day with a high level of gratitude and presence, you've done it. Like, that is a huge part of it, because one day this journey will not be as we know it today. So we won't look back and say, I missed it, like a lot of people do. So it teaches you about gratitude. And the third thing is that death will teach you about compassion. That when you are privileged and honored to be of service and caring for somebody or in the presence of somebody at the end of life, having compassion on their journey, having compassion on the loved ones attached to that end of life, how very challenging, how very stressful and scary and all of that. So your heart bursts open with compassion when you're in that space, and knowing that this is the common thing that binds us all in our humanity, this thing called death, because each and every one of us will experience it. So showing that we should have not only compassion at that moment, but bringing in compassion in every exchange we do with every single person that we meet in our lives, in every situation, because everyone is on their own journey and it's all perfect. Let's not judge one another. Let's show up with compassion and presence and gratitude, and not just at the end of life, roll that into our life now. Can you imagine what a different world this will be when we do that, when we allow death to be our greatest teacher about how to live? And the fact that we don't see it, that most people don't know what death is like, and it's the number one fear, we're missing out, in my opinion, on the greatest teacher about how to live. Let's bring that back. Let's share stories. Let's empower giving families the skills on how to care for their loved ones so that they are not frightened and petrified, but it teaches us how to live now. Because a good end of life is a good life. And we can do that today. So this is Suzanne O'Brien, Doula Tips Tuesday. This was about how death is our greatest teacher about life, living with presence, living with gratitude, and living with compassion. Thank you all. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.